Welcome to the 700 Club. For now, Hezbollah and Israel appear to have stepped back from the brink of a wider war. Still, the terror group has the ability to continue striking Israel from southern Lebanon.
Hezbollah controls the area despite the presence of the Lebanese army and UN troops. Some claim that aid from the United States to the Lebanese army may actually be supporting Hezbollah. Chuck Holson explains from northern Israel.
By supporting the Lebanese army, you are supporting, in the U.S., Hezbollah.
The United States provides approximately $300 million annually to the Lebanese army, ostensibly to help keep the peace. However, the lines between the official military and the terror group are increasingly blurred.
They are giving support to the Lebanese army, and indirectly they are supporting Hezbollah, because Lebanese army, many of its soldiers are Hezbollah fighters. And in the south, especially here, these soldiers of Lebanese army are collaborating and coordinating with Hezbollah.
I'm standing in the town of Malkia, which is a kibbutz that's situated right on the Lebanese border. As a matter of fact, the border is just about a quarter mile behind me. And that village that you see on the hillside back there is called Bleida. It is inside Lebanon, and it's one of the places where Hezbollah is daily firing missiles and rockets and drones at Israel.
On one hand, we're holding a gun to protect ourselves. We have no interest of invading into Lebanon, to fight anyone, to kill anyone. We don't. We just do it for our own protection. I just remind you who started this war.
Since October, Hezbollah has launched over 7,000 rockets into Israel, with border communities bearing the brunt. Adding to the complexity is UNIFIL, a UN peacekeeping force, deployed since 1973 to maintain peace. Critics argue they've failed to prevent Hezbollah's growing threat.
Lebanese army is not functional. It's penetrated by Hezbollah. Its security and intelligence is penetrated by Hezbollah. And we in Israel cannot and shall not depend on any resolution that give a power to Lebanese army that is penetrated by Hezbollah and to UNIFIL that is allowing under 1701 Hezbollah to grow up to this level of monster.
UNIFIL's annual budget exceeds $800 million, with a significant portion coming from U.S. taxpayers. Despite this investment, Hezbollah's attacks continue.
You're fighting against ghosts, and especially underground ghosts. So it takes time, but we're winning. We're winning over them.
As Israel continues to defend against daily attacks, questions persist about the effectiveness of U.S. aid to Lebanon and UN peacekeeping efforts in the region. From the Lebanese border, I'm Chuck Holton for CBN News.
Well, that UN peacekeeping force is entirely ineffective. This was supposed to be a weapons-free zone, and you see thousands, tens of thousands of rockets being stored there, underground tunnels everywhere, and it boggles the mind that the UN somehow thinks it's doing its job on the ground. But here's something that ought to disturb every single American. Our taxpayer dollars are going to support the Lebanese army, and you just heard that means you're supporting Hezbollah. Our taxpayer dollars went into Hamas and into supporting Gaza in the guise of humanitarian aid, but that aid, everyone on the ground knew Hamas was diverting it to build rockets and to build tunnels in order to attack Israel. The so-called UN Relief Works Agency, UNRWA, that has been overrun with Hamas. UNRWA employees actively participated in the October 7th attack against southern Israel. And it's been known for a long period of time that they're supporting Hamas. Under the Trump administration, the U.S. stopped all funding to UNRWA. In the very first week of the Biden administration, they restored that. Here's another one for you, the Palestinian Authority. It's our taxpayer dollars that keep that propped up. And we already know they have a set-aside martyr program where if you kill Israelis, if you're imprisoned or you commit some act of terror, You and your family are going to receive monthly wages, all part of the Palestinian Authority budget. We are funding that. So our taxpayer dollars are being used in Lebanon, are being used in Gaza, are being used in the West Bank in order to promote terror, to attack Israel. It's high time we stop this and say, no, we're not supporting your ideology. And I know a lot of people say, well, what about the humanitarian issues? What about the children of Gaza? What about these things? Well, until their leadership changes and they stop the ideology of hate against Israel, we have to hold them accountable. We can't fund that. And until there is some mechanism in place on the ground to make sure humanitarian aid is actually getting to the children, well, we need to stop until we can make sure it's going where we intend it. Well, in other news, the IDF rescued a hostage in Gaza today. Gary Lane has that story and more from the CBN Newsroom. Gary?
That's right, Gordon. The IDF announcing the news this morning. Qaid Farhan El-Qadi, an Arab citizen of Israel, has been held by Hamas since October 7th. The 52-year-old father of 11 children was taken from kibbutz Magen, where he worked. Israel forces rescued him from a tunnel in Khan Yunis. It's the fourth successful rescue of a live Israeli hostage from Hamas.